please. I'm now going to pass it to Brett Barnett. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate that. As Jonathan was speaking about the academic program, I have the opportunity to speak about the student life side of things, the non-academic program, if you will. But as I say that, it's ironic to me that there's so many elements of what I'm about to share with you that are actually interwoven into the academic program that it's really hard to envision these as two separate things. It's kind of a mesh, if you will. So speaking first to those kind of programs, the co-curricular activities or co-curricular programming. These are programs, classes, opportunities for students to develop skills in specific areas. So in our lower school, we'll have art class, music class, gym or physical education. We also strive, we've partnered with Yale University, and this is a program that we've had back in our school in Wolfboro, New Hampshire for over 10 years. We partner with Yale University, their ruler program on social emotional skills, what I like to term wellness. We care about the wellness of children, and we interweave or we weave those activities and those programming elements into everyday class. We also have a state-of-the-art leadership program that starts working with kids as young as kindergarten on their leadership skills, making them see and start to exhibit traits of leadership and really recognize the leadership within them. In addition to these things in the lower school, there's also a technology piece. I know that had come up. Folks are asking that question. There's a technology piece that we start as young as in the lower school to help those kids build those skills so that by the time they're in middle school or in high school, they'll be able to take on coding if they're interested. In the middle school, again, there's an emphasis on the arts. Students will have more choices in the arts. At that point, we'll have theater, we'll have fine arts, we'll also have chorus, to name a few of those arts pieces. We'll also have physical education, so gym's still important there. And our wellness program and leadership program, still equally important. There are those pieces that then will become age appropriate, and we've taken those courses or those pieces and really crafted some content that's super appropriate for middle school students in regards to those pieces to help them continue to develop. And in our upper school, arts electives will continue to expand and wellness and leadership continue to be emphasized. There was a question that came up in the chat, and I'm just going to address it now. What policies do you have to combat and prevent bullying? One of the key elements of our social emotional learning program at all levels, starting as young as in the lower school, all the way up through the high school, addresses bullying. We start with a framework that talks about friendship and the importance of friendship and the elements of friendship and what a good friend is and what a not supportive friend is. And building on that, we start to create a community and culture around no tolerance for bullying. We talk about bystander intervention, what kids need to do when they see bullying. And we also talk to them about, in the leadership curriculum, how to stand up and be a leader against that when they see that occurring and how to, again, influence their peers to avoid those behaviors in the first place. So that's just one programmatic element. I'm happy I was able to do a deep dive into that. You get a sense of what our wellness and social emotional curriculum is all about. There's also clubs and activities. So as much as I get to talk about the academic pieces, I also get to talk about the fun pieces. Clubs and activities, these extracurriculars that happen toward the end of the school day. In sports, we're committed to offering basketball, lacrosse, and soccer, or football. Not American football with the crazy helmets and all of that kind of thing, but European football or soccer, if you will. Nevertheless, having those at all levels. So we'll have these sports offered in lower school, middle school, upper school, and we're committed to bring in coaches and get field space and all of those kind of things to have competitive teams in lacrosse and soccer and basketball. These are three sports that we're kind of known for back in the States. And so we look forward to bringing those in our reputation of excellence to Madrid. Also known very well for the arts. And so dance and music and theater and chorus, all things that we're very committed to providing. not only during the school day, but also at the end of the day for kids who may not be able to fit some of these electives or whatnot into their schedules. We'll be offering them at the end of the day so the kids have a large menu of activities to select from. We're committed to having robotics. Back home in the States, we have a robotics team that competes at the state level and the national level when they do well enough. We hope to provide similar opportunities here in Madrid to our students. And also a very important hallmark of what we stand for at Brewster is community engaged learning. Thinking about opportunities to give back, thinking about those opportunities that help us reflect on the fact that there are greater things than ourselves in the world. So looking at opportunities to give back to the community of Madrid, the country of Spain, and the globe are all things that kids will be able to engage in really systematic ways as a part of our clubs and activities that we offer. Next slide. After school programs. So again, we're committed to not only providing those pieces that I just shared, those clubs and activities that will happen at the end of the day, but for those folks who need extended coverage, I'm thinking about the 4:30 to 5:30 slot, or maybe even until 6 o'clock. We will offer after school programs. These could be specific music lessons. These could be specific instructive sports or other kind of sports. This could also be a chess club or yearbook or other programs of interest. We can bring in folks from the outside to help support your students. So if there is interest and someone comes up to me and I'm picturing a student, maybe a little fourth grader saying like, oh my goodness, I'm interested in cooking. We need a cooking club. All of a sudden, if there's enough fourth graders who come to me or enough interest in that cooking club, we're going to have a cooking club. And it's my job to figure out who's going to work the cooking club, who's going to teach that to the kids, who's going to make this fun and exciting and have that joy of learning that is supposed to pervade everything that we do in our school. That will become an opportunity for me to get to work on behalf of the students to really execute on their behalf. There's also tutoring after school. And so picturing a wide array of tutoring happening, some outside people, some inside people, but folks who really get to know kids and help kids work on their subjects and improve their skills. That's something that will also be available toward the end of the day. Next slide. And just the timetable. I know it comes up. People are often saying like, what is the timetable? What are the specifics? Looking at 8:30 as a drop-off point and really roughly across the board, 9 o'clock as an academic start to the day. It could be a little earlier in the upper school. We're still tweaking some schedules, but roughly 9 o'clock across the board. And then, with lunch in there, with recess, someone saw the schedule and they're like, oh my goodness, the littlest ones are going to go from 9 a.m. to 12:30 without a break or a recess. No. Those are also inserted in there. These timetables we try to fit on the slide, and there's a lot of good content that we weren't able to fit into this slide. So if you come to one of our tours or have an info session with us, we're able to provide a lot more of the details that we can't get across in the webinar. But for the sake of the slide, yes, this is what we've got. And then you can see that academics continue as the day goes on. There's opportunities for student pickups at multiple points. But the more that your students want to be involved in our school, the more we want them there, the longer they'll be there, and the later you can pick them up. So very excited about all of the opportunities we have outside of the academic schedule in regards to a lot of the things that we're able to offer students in the lower, middle, and upper schools.
And I can take over from here to talk about the next steps. So you got to kind of learn a bit about what makes Brewster Madrid so special. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see that we've simplified the process. So it's easy as 1, 2, 3, and I'll go over the next step. So step 1, some of you might have already done this. Thank you for those who have. But if you haven't, please, at the end of this meeting, please be sure to click on the inquiry button that's on the top right of our website. We will also put the link in the chat very soon, and that allows us to stay in touch with you and send you all the upcoming events and information. So please, everyone, please inquire so that we can stay in touch. I'll just say that very quickly in Spanish. Es muy importante rellenar el pequeño formulario que vais a encontrar en el chat y también en nuestro sitio web con el botón de Inquire en la, arriba a la derecha. El Inquire nos ayuda un montón en poder seguir en contacto. Entonces, por favor, si no lo habéis hecho aún, hazlo ya. Y el siguiente, the next step. So step number 2 is connecting with us and continuing the conversation. I'm sure, you know, this webinar helps you get a sense, but of course you would want to discuss more in depth about your children's specific needs and whether we're the right match for your children. And so please, we'll be sending the links to schedule an in-person or Zoom meeting in an email after this event. So we welcome you to chat with us further. You can also join on a school tour. These last about anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, and we get to visit our beautiful historic campus in Chambéry, and you'll get the link in our follow-up email very soon. And next, step 3 is the application. So the requirements for the application vary by age, and you can find all the information on our website, and we will also be emailing you the checklist in the same email after this event. And our philosophy for admission, we take a very holistic look at each and every student. We want to really make sure that we can first challenge and support the child. Second, count on the family being able to support and partner with us. And third, knowing that the student will add value to our community. So we don't just look at the grades, even though that is a part of our process, but we really look at a holistic view of every applicant. And next, I'll pass it off to Craig to continue to talk about our tuition and fees.
Great. Thank you, Natalia. And thank you, colleagues, for all of your wonderful eloquence. What you should know is that I'm going to speak in a moment about what really, to my mind, if I were to answer the question, what makes us different is that we are absolutely devoted to serving each child the way he or she needs to be served, and that all of us as colleagues, all of us as a family of students and teachers at Brewster Madrid build the kind of culture that many of us probably take for granted in our wonderful school in New Hampshire. It is a very special, very warm, very nurturing, extremely purposeful place where your children will be transformed. And the reality is bringing the kind of talent that we are bringing from around the world and having the kind of teacher-student ratios that we have costs a lot of money. We run an efficient operation, but we do not spare expense on bringing world-class talent to the job of helping children to become great adults, period. And I'm happy to talk with anyone about why our fees are structured the way they're structured. I have spent literally years, not months, not weeks, years building business models to figure out how we can deliver on one singular promise. And that is, if you entrust your child with us, we will deliver, and we will deliver day in and day out. And it does cost money. And I will say, as a parent, and Nancy, I think, can attest to this as well, we made very deliberate decisions to ensure that our children could be at the right schools. And there were times when it was difficult, and we will never, ever do anything other than rejoice in the fact that we were able to provide our children with the kind of education that allowed them to be transformed. So happy to talk with anyone who would like to about tuition and fees. Let's move on to the next slide.